Just a second. Eric, I have a question for you today.
What else is new?
Sometimes when I have a question, I have the illusion that I may be closer to understanding your concepts. So you're gonna have to let me know whether I'm way off base or whether I'm, as my grandson would say, you're getting warmer. Uh, or am I getting colder? Okay, so you've talked about the cosmic network and the cosmic nodes. And is it that the cosmic nodes are more four-dimensional so we can perceive them? But most of what there is network between the nodes, which is the space we cannot see. And that's the six-dimensional aspect.
Well, you're getting close, but no, no prize yet. The Look, I know this confusion between dimensions greater than 3 is a terrible thing. We can explain a fourth dimension in really relatively very simple terms. If you are on the surface of an expanding sphere and something is moving along the surface of an expanding sphere, if you look at where it is coming from, it looks like it is coming from deep within the sphere, because the sphere is expanding, and at the time it left, the sphere was much smaller, and now it is in the middle of something. But yet we know that that something never left the surface of the Earth, and we explain this by an analogy to a super snail crawling along the earth and all kinds of things. We can roughly explain this, and you may not completely grasp it, but at least there is a way of visualizing why something must be four-dimensional. It is not anything, very very complex beyond the fact that if you are talking about being on the surface of something that is expanding, you cannot explain motion over time in the three-dimensional structure. You need another dimension because the surface of the structure was here when you started and it's here now. So there is another expansion going on, which we are not used to. It's another thing. And if we take the Earth and slow down the flow of information, we start to see the same thing. And we have explained that. So there is a way of explaining four dimensions. Okay, but that is only applicable so far to the whole structure of the universe. Now we're talking about what is within that structure. Now, Einstein made a colossal error. He didn't realize it, and he had no way of knowing that he was making a colossal error, because he very logically said, if the universe is a four-dimensional structure, then the interior should also be four-dimensional. Why should it be anything different? And at the time that he was doing general relativity, there was no reason to believe it should be different. But then along comes string theory and says, oh no, I mean, forget that. We have to explain why the cosmic elements have such a wide variety of forms. Each of these forms must be identifiable by some property. And they said, okay, the whole mass energy of the universe is in the form of vibrating strings that vibrate at a usually large pace. Okay, but each different type of particle has its own vibrational mode. The simplest one might be in and out, another one is is going to a dumbbell and back again. You can make up a lot of modes, but we need thousands of them. There are thousands of these things. You cannot do this in 3 dimensions. And you should know this because you work on this thing. There is no way of twisting anything in 3 dimensions to give you 1,000 different ways of twisting. You cannot do it. You need more dimensions, and you need more than 4 dimensions. It can't be done in 4 dimensions. So how many dimensions does it take? Now, once you've got your head around the fact that not everything is 3-dimensional, we have no idea how many it takes. We have to rely on the science. And the science says that the number of different things, modes of vibration, require a space of 6 dimensions. And neither you nor I know what the hell a 6-dimensional space can possibly be, but we know it's more than 4-dimensional. Now, it comes down to something very, very basic, and I've used this this analogous situation in when we talk about biology. We know that the same thing happens. Everything is made up of cells, and the cells differentiate. Into how many different things do cells differentiate? We don't know. It's an enormous number, and we have a blueprint for it. It's called the DNA. It gives you the computer code for actually doing it. The only thing is we don't understand the computer language. It's as simple as that. One day we will, but today we don't. We have the code, and if we had enough paper, we could actually print it all, except with the country it's going to run out of paper before you finish printing it. Now, because this is how immense these codes are, but it also requires an immense number of different things along the way. In other words, your nail isn't created in one step from a undifferentiated cell right into a nail. It goes probably to 10 different stages before a nail emerges. And the same is true for every other part of your body. And you've got this enormous complexity of it, yet all of it can go into one tiny microbiological thing called the DNA. Now, we have something roughly similar going on in the universe, and somewhere hidden in the universe there is the equivalent of the DNA, namely a blueprint for all the things that can come together. Where we're going to find the blueprint, I have no idea. And even if we found it, how the hell we would read it is probably totally impossible given our present knowledge. Now, 6-dimension boggles the mind. We have no idea what the hell it is, but we do know something, that in going from 3 dimensions to 4 dimensions, you can get roughly 1 million times more functionality. In going from 4 to 5, you get 1 million times more. And if you go to 6, you get 1 million times more. And you've got to go to 6 because that's what it takes. Now, whether we like it or not, and whether we'd be happier if it was 4, maybe, but it isn't. It's 6. And we know it is 6 because it wouldn't work other than that. And this is a fact of life. So yes, we have a 4-dimensional structure in which it all is, but every node within that, or every cosmic node as we define it, is a 6-dimensional structure, not a 4-dimensional structure. And so we have these 6-dimensional structures within a 4-dimensional expanse, and we can see 3 dimensions. So how the hell can we understand it all? Well, we can only understand it up to a point. We can go from
Yeah.
3 to 4, and I can explain it to you, and you can picture it, sort of. Okay, disturbing, but you can still picture it. Once we go beyond 4, you're flying blind. You have the mathematics, you have the logic, and you have to accept it, because without it, we cannot explain anything. The cosmic jigsaw puzzle has no solution. By explaining this, and with the paradigm shift that we have introduced, I think we can actually put that jigsaw puzzle together.
That's great. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and you had a great phrase in there for me, which is that we have to accept the fact that when we get to that point, we are flying blind.
We are flying blind.
We don't like to do that. We like to be very sure. Just give me the answer. Tell me,
Absolutely.
is it yes or no? Is it this or that? So I can go home. And to be able to sustain that
course,
sort of flying blind place is
this is what we have been taught all of our lives. Every problem has a solution, and if you're just smart enough and attend enough courses, you're going to get all the solutions. You won't.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain things that, I mean, I can work in a 6-dimensional space because I'm used to it from other experience. Most people are just completely turned off at the idea. I can work in an n-dimensional space. You can have it as large as you want. It can be handled mathematically. Can we give you a picture of it that you can picture like we can for 4-dimensional space? No, we can't.
Wow.
It's that simple.
That's great. Another challenge for me, and I am so grateful that you are willing to invest the time explaining that. That's wonderful.
Well, it's the nice thing about it is I'm making most of it up as I go, because I've never written it down in that form. Somehow you can verbally bring out things that are very, very hard to write accurately and concisely. I mean, in speaking, you can make all kinds of blunders. Once in a while, you call me on it. Sometimes you're nice enough to forget about it, but you can still present a cohesive picture. It's a different medium. It has different advantages and different disadvantages. But I think it is very important here to have not only the written word, but also the verbal enunciation. I'm so glad that you're teasing all of these explanations out of me.
And I'll also
I'm a very willing subject.
Yes. Well, but I'll also say that you may be making up the articulation as you're going along, but these concepts you've been working on for decades.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. It is only simple after you understand it. Until you understand it, it is not at all simple, I can assure you.
Another great statement. Thank you so much, Eric.
Well, I won't take credit for that. I think it's basically paraphrasing what Albert Einstein said.
Well, he wasn't always wrong.
No, he was surprisingly right for his age.
Look at us criticizing Einstein.
But that was 100 years ago.
Yes, for his time. Yes. Thank you so much.